Kenyans still concentrate on the coming elections, the election laws that are being spearheaded by the Jubilee Party, and has been a new set for divisions, not only for the politicians, but Kenyans. nurses continue to be on strike 4 months down the line, and the CS yesterday said there is no hope for them to open up new negotiations with the nurses. Today, we've seen nurses in Mombasa demonstrate in the streets and head to the county government offices trying to seek redress with Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho. That situation is still as is. There has been no address with the county government. But let's also take a look at what's happening in other counties. Joining me in studio now is the Kenya National Union of Nurses Branch Secretary for the county of Machakos, Halima Adan. How is the situation in Machakos?
The situation is bad. We've not been on duty for the last, I think, 4 months. By tomorrow, all facilities are closed down. So there's nothing going on. Yeah.
The CS has said they're not negotiating anymore with the nurses. Where does this leave you?
I think the CS is just being, he's being dishonest. Because as the person tasked with the Ministry of Health, he shouldn't run away from his responsibility. Health is a shared function between county governments and national government. So by the CS saying that he will not negotiate with us until we go back to work 4 months down the line, he's just being dishonest. Yeah,
he's insisting that the strike is still illegal and you should go back to work, then you can have a conversation.
No strike has ever been legal in this country. And as a union, the Constitution has given us a right to belong to a trade union. The same Constitution has given us a right to have a collective bargaining agreement, which is supposed to be between the employer and the employee. And the employee here is represented by the trade union. So he's just running away from his responsibility because this is a collective bargaining agreement that is dated back in 2012. So 7 years later, 5 years later, we are still talking of a collective bargaining agreement. So it should be given to us. It is our right and it should be given to us.
Well, it's been 4 months. Nothing seems to be forthcoming.
Something will happen.
Do you have a new tactic to work on this? Because seemingly the tactic you've been using for the past 4 months is not yielding fruit.
I wouldn't say it's not yielding fruits. I'll just say that we have leaders who are dishonest in the various offices in government, because as much as there are problems with elections and everything else in the country, we have officers tasked to take care of some responsibilities, and they should be doing it right away, because it's not the president that allocates funds or does all that pertains to this strike. So we have officers in those offices who are comfortable and who don't care about the common mwananchi. So we should look at this strike in terms of Kenyans who are suffering, children who are not getting vaccinations, mothers who are delivering at home, HIV babies who are being exposed who will be HIV positive and it can't be reversed, patients who are dying at home for lack of health care. So we should just not look at nurses as just people who are just out there making noise for no reason. Our grievances are genuine. In fact, as I sit here today, we have really gone down on our grievances. First, it was 10 billion. We moved it to 7 billion. Right now, we are just slightly above 5 billion. So what else do they want us to do? They have been just staying at their corner since we started the strike. And for us, we have said, those are our irreducible minimums, even if it takes 1 year or 6 months. Let it go down in history in this country. The nurses tried to go on strike. Everybody else has been given a collective bargaining agreement. Teachers, doctors. Why nurses? What is it that we do that is not appreciated in this country?
Let's revisit some of the demands that nurses have. And the one thing that continues to keep you out of work, the CBA, implementation of the CBA. What would it mean for the nurses in the event that the government and, of course, the county governments, both the county governments and the national government, give in to your demands?
First, the collective bargaining agreement is not just about money. It talks about the working conditions, the environment at the workplace, our progression while we are at work, because we're even finding counties that has never promoted nurses since devolution. It has a lot for us, the working hours, the retirement schemes for nurses. So it has a lot. And Milo is on record at one time saying that the collective bargaining agreement is 95% done. Why can't we agree on the 5% for nurses to go back to work?
What is the 5%?
The 5% is the monetary part, money. And in the money, we had 5 allowances initially, which was the call allowance, there was responsibility allowance, there was risk allowance, extraneous allowance, and the uniform allowance. The uniform allowance is paid once in a year. So right now, we gave out the call allowance and said, okay, fine, we'll come back to fight another day. We gave out the call allowance, we gave out the responsibility allowance, and remained with the 3 allowances, which is the extraneous allowance, the risk allowance, and the uniform allowance. As we engage them, we are expecting them to come on the table and tell us, for now, as a return to work based on the mood of the country, we'll give you probably 2 allowances, the risk allowance and the uniform allowance, and the rest we can sit down probably within a certain period of time and we discuss the implementation matrix of that other allowance. But we are not seeing anyone who is committed. But as branches in various counties, we are engaging governors, and governors have goodwill.
All right, and I want us to come back to that shortly, how the county governments are responding to this now that it seems to be failing with the national government. So hold on to that thought. We're getting back